and welcome back to Grace Crochets. For today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I made this really cute market bag. The yarn that I used for this project is by Yarn Bee. You can get this at Hobby Lobby. It was $5.49. It's the Sweet Divinity Amber Waves one, and it has 243 yards, and I used almost 2 complete balls of this. I think I had maybe 20 yards left of the second one, and it calls for a 4.5mm hook. But I did want my stitches to be a little bit tighter, so I ended up using a 3mm hook. Let's get started. We're going to be working our way from bottom to top, so we're going to be starting right here. And keep in mind that the more chains that you start off initially, the bigger your bag is going to be. I had 66 chains to start out with, and this is how big my bag is. But keep in mind, the yarn that I used and the hook that I used a 3mm hook when the yarn called for a 4.5mm hook. So just keep that in the back of your mind and play around with it. And I'm not going to be doing all the chains that I did. I think I have around 20 here, and I'm just going to be showing you guys row by row what I did. So let's get started. Like I said, you're going to start out with a whole bunch of chains. And I did the entire bottom portion of my bag in half double crochets. So you're going to yarn over, zoom in, there we go. So you're going to yarn over and insert your hook into the second chain from your hook. Yarn over, pull through, you should have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through. So there's 1 half double crochet. You're going to be placing 2 more half double crochets into that same chain. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, draw up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all of them, and do 1 more. Okay. Now that you have these 3 half double crochets into this 1 chain, you can begin working this way onto your chain. So into the next chain, place 1 half double crochet. So again, yarn over, insert your hook, and draw up a loop. Then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. I'll do 1 more. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next chain, draw up a loop. Oops. There we go. Yarn over and pull through. You're going to place 1 half double crochet into every chain for this first row. Okay, now once you've reached the end of the row, you are not going to chain 1 and turn your work like you would to just go into row 2. Instead, you're going to yarn over and place 2 more half double crochets into this last chain. So yarn over, here's my second one, and here's my third. And the reason why we're doing this is because we're going to start working back into the bottom of these stitches. So we're essentially going to be working in the round, just like if it was a circle. So now you're going to place another whole row of half double crochets. And you're going to be placing them essentially just in the bottom of these stitches, like so. That's what it's going to look like. It's going to be a little bit hard initially, but you'll get the hang of it. As you can see, they're all just in the bottom. So you'll place it right there. So go ahead and finish this row, and once you get back to your first half double crochet, go ahead and place 1 slip stitch, and then I'll show you how to do round 2. After you've finished your first round, your project should look something like this. Now to begin on round 2, you can either chain 1 and have that count as a half double crochet, or you can do what I do, and I just draw up my loop a little bit and go ahead and place my half double crochet. I just think it looks a lot better than just like having 1 chain, but that's totally up to you. And then in this next stitch, that's where you're going to place 3 half double crochets. So there's my first, my second, and my third. And we did it in that stitch because it's the very last stitch on this side, and that's going to allow us to turn our work to start working this way. And then it's pretty easy, just in every stitch along this side, place 1 half double crochet. And then wait for me once you reach this ending stitch right here. Okay, I've done all the half double crochets for this side, and now this next stitch is the stitch that is on the very tip of this edge, and that's where I'm going to be placing 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Now again, just do all the half double crochets for this row and finish off this row with a slip stitch. This row is pretty much going to be the exact same as the last. I'm going to place my half double crochet. Then I'm going to have 1 more half double crochet until I reach the tip where I'm going to be placing 3 half double crochets. So now I'm at the tip, and here is 1, 2, and 3. So now I'm going to work back this way until I get to this stitch. Then I'm going to be placing 3 half double crochets. Then I'm just going to work my way back to the beginning stitch and place a slip stitch. And you'll continue this pattern of having the increases on either side until you have the desired size of your bag. I did 8 rows total that included the increases on either side, and then after that, for each round, I did all half double crochets, meaning I didn't place increases on either side. And I did that for 4 rows total to complete my base. And I'll show you what that will look like. I'm going to do a few rows that are all half double crochets. Okay, I just did 2 rows, all completely half double crochets, and you can see once you start doing those rows that don't have the increases on either side, that's when the sides start folding up to create the shape of the bag. But now that you have the base of your bag completely done, let's start working on the pattern. You're going to start off by placing 3 half double crochets. Okay, so here is 1, here is my second, and my third. And after you do your 3 half double crochets, then you can chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. Now you're going to skip 3 stitches and place 3 more half double crochets. So we're going to skip 1, 2, 3 and place our hook into this stitch here. Oops. And place a half double crochet. Now we're going to place 2 more to the next 2 stitches. Then again, you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and again skip 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and place your hook into the 4th stitch and place a half double crochet. Then 2 more. Okay, and you're going to continue this pattern of 3 half double crochets, then you're going to chain 3 and skip 3 stitches, then continue 3 half double crochets, chain 3, and you're going to do that for the entire row. And odds are when you finish this row, nothing is going to line up perfectly unless your stitches just happen to be in multiples of 6, just coincidentally. So as you can see here, I fudged a little bit. Like I only had 2 stitches here, but it's really not noticeable. On my bag, nothing lined up perfectly and you really can't even notice. So I would just say fudge a little bit. But let's work on the next row. So into this stitch here, you're going to place a slip stitch. And don't make it too tight. Make it a little bit loose, like so. Then into the next stitch, you're going to place a half double crochet. Okay? And then into this big space here that you made from the previous row, you're going to place 5 double crochets. To do a double crochet, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook, and draw up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through the next 2. You're going to place 4 more of those within that big gap. So here is 3, 4, and 5. Okay? Now you're going to skip this stitch and place a half double crochet into this stitch. Now you're going to repeat this part right here by placing 5 double crochets into this big gap. So yarn over. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now again, skip this stitch, place a half double crochet into this one. And continue that pattern for the rest of the row, and I'll show you where to place a slip stitch to complete this row. Okay, and to finish off this round, I'm going to be placing a slip stitch into that slip stitch we did at the beginning of the round, like so. And then we're going to be moving on to the next round. So to do that, again, I'm going to place a slip stitch into the very first stitch, and then into the next 3 stitches. In each of them, I'm placing 1 half double crochet. Okay, then after that, you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. This is going to be very similar to this row that we did before last. Yarn over, and you're going to be placing your hook into this stitch right here. So here's the half double crochet from the last round, and then here's the first double crochet. Then insert your hook into that next stitch and place 1 half double crochet, and then 1 half double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, like so. And then chain 3 and do the same thing. Insert your hook into this stitch right here and place a half double crochet, and then another half double crochet and another, and you're going to repeat that pattern for the rest of the row, and then you're going to repeat this pattern that we did in the previous row, and it's just going to be a 2-row repeat until you have the desired length for your bag. And then after you have that part done, that's the hard part. I'm going to show you guys how to do the top of the bag. Once you have the desired height for your bag, make sure that you end on this row, and then you can begin working on the top portion of the bag that includes the handles. Okay, so this part is probably the easiest part of the entire bag. For your first stitch, it should be right in between these 2 arches. You're going to be placing a double crochet. And how I do my double crochets, if I'm starting off a row with a double crochet, is I will pull up my loop like so, and I will essentially hold my finger, hold the loop there, and yarn over with that loop. Then I'll insert my hook into the stitch and then just complete the double crochet. But do the double crochet however you want. That's just how I always do mine. But for these next 4 stitches, place a half double crochet. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then for this stitch that's all the way down here, you're going to place a double crochet. And the reason why we're alternating between half double crochets and then double crochets is just to get it even for the top of the bag, because if not, the top of the bag would just go up, down, up, down. So now you have your half double crochets. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now you're at that one that's all the way down there, so you're going to place a double crochet. And then continue doing half double crochets and then a double crochet until you reach the end of the round and everything is even. Alright, now after you finish this row, hopefully you'll find that the top edge of your row is pretty much completely flat. And then after this row, you're going to do 2 more rows completely comprised of half double crochets. So go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you how I made the handles. Okay, so here's a visual representation of how I made the top portion of my bag. I decided to split the top portion into thirds, so here's 1/3, another third, and a third. So when making it on here, scoot that up, here is where I'm going to start crocheting, because that's where my loop is. I'm going to crochet until I get to about 1/3 of the way across this front facing part of the bag. For me, like that's probably going to be like 8 stitches, but for you it might be 20, could be 30. It just depends on how big you decided to make your bag. But meet me back here once you have placed all half double crochets up into 1/3 of the way across your bag. Okay, I have now placed half double crochets to roughly about the 1/3 mark across my bag. So at this point, I'm going to be chaining a whole bunch of chains. Now for mine here, I believe I had 60 something chains, but the more chains you have when you do your handles, the taller they're going to be this way. So if you want smaller handles, place less chains, but if you want longer handles, place more. And remember how many chains you do on this part. It's just going to be a lot easier to remember than counting out the chains later. But you're going to chain like so. 4, 5, 6, 7, whoops, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So I'm just going to do 17. And then I'm going to insert my hook. Roughly, I'm going to go another third over. So roughly around here. And I'm going to place a slip stitch. And connect all of my chains to this side. Okay? Now I'm going to, this gets confusing. Okay, so now I'm going to place roughly, for me, it's going to be about 18 more half double crochets until I get all the way from here over back to here. So each side will be symmetrical, and that's where I'm going to start placing my chains once again for the next handle, and then I'm going to place half double crochets till I get back to the beginning part of my row. And I'm going to do it and then I'll show you guys here. So once I got to this point, I kind of just lined it up to make sure that this is where I would begin doing my chains again. And I did 17 chains for this handle. And then I'm going to connect it at there, and then I'm going to finish off my round. Okay, now at this point, your project should look something like this. But for this next row, you're going to be placing however many half double crochets you need to get to this point. And then I'm going to show you how to work on the handle. Okay, so here I am right before all of these chains for the handle. And if you remember, I had 17 chains. So I'm going to be placing 17 half double crochets inside of this big giant loop. So yarn over, I'm just going to insert my hook underneath these chains and draw up a loop. Then I'm going to yarn over and place a regular half double crochet. I'm going to do that 16 more times. So there's 2, 3, 4, and so on. And you'll have to stretch them out amongst the chains along the chain, excuse me, to how you see fit. But then you're just going to continue and do the same thing on this handle and then finish out the round. So at this point, your project should look something like this. And that's the hardest part of the top, because from here on out, you're just going to be placing rows of half double crochets. After I did this row, I just did 2 more rows on top of that, and that's how I got my finished product. And that's it. So make sure to like and subscribe. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure to leave them down in the comments. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for more.